Hey guys, tonight we plunge into the wild, sweaty, god-touched saga of Hercules, the muscle-bound hero of ancient Greece, whose life feels like a cosmic reality show gone rogue. Picture yourself standing on a sun-scorched hill, the air thick with olive grove dust, as a demigod's roar echoes from a nearby village. You're about to walk in Hercules' sandals through his 12 impossible labors, tasks so brutal you probably won't survive this, or at least your ego might not. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. I'm curious where you're drifting off from tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're in Thebes, where the story kicks off, and the air's buzzing with divine drama. Hercules, or Heracles to the Greeks, isn't just some beefy guy with a lion skin cape. Born to Zeus, king of the gods, and Alcmene, a mortal woman, he's a walking paradox. Half god, half human, all trouble. His birth was a scandal. Zeus, disguised as Alcmene's husband, sneaks in for a divine hookup, stretching one night into 3 for extra nuptial quality time. Hera, Zeus's wife, is predictably livid. She's not just the goddess of marriage, she's the queen of holding grudges. Her hatred for Hercules starts before he's even born, cursing him with a life of chaos. Historians still argue whether Hera's wrath shaped Hercules more than his own strength. Some say she's the real puppet master here. As a baby, you see Hercules flex his demigod vibes early. Hera sends 2 serpents to strangle him in his crib, but toddler Hercules just giggles, grabs them like toys, and snaps their necks. Bet you didn't squash vipers before your first birthday. Growing up, he's a prodigy with a temper. Think teenage Hulk with better hair. He masters archery, wrestling, and music, but his rage gets him exiled after let's call it an overzealous incident with a lyre and his music teacher's head. Quirky tidbit, some ancient texts claim Hercules' first weapon was a rattle he shook so hard it scared off wolves. True or not, it's peak Hercules energy, turning baby toys into chaos machines. Now a young man, you watch Hercules settle in Thebes, marry Princess Megara, and start a family. Life's good, until Hera spikes his brain with madness. In a tragic frenzy, he slays his wife and kids, mistaking them for enemies. The guilt hits like a thunderbolt. Heartbroken, he seeks redemption at the Oracle of Delphi, where the priestess, channeling Apollo, drops a bombshell. Serve King Eurystheus, his jealous cousin, and complete 10 labors. Later bumped to 12 because Eurystheus is a stickler for rules. These aren't chores like cleaning your room. They're death-defying stunts designed to break him. Spoiler: they don't. You're standing at the edge of this myth now, feeling the weight of Hercules' destiny. The labors aren't just about muscle. They're a gauntlet of wits, endurance, and facing fears you didn't know you had. Picture yourself prepping for the first task, your sandals sinking into the dirt, knowing the gods are watching, and half of them are betting against you. The mainstream fact here? These labors, recorded in texts like Apollodorus's library, cemented Hercules as Greece's ultimate hero, worshipped in temples across the Mediterranean. But the road ahead is brutal, and Hera's got her eyes on you, whispering chaos. Good luck sleeping through that thought tonight. You stand at the gates of Nemea, the sun beating down like an overzealous personal trainer, your skin prickling with the dry heat of the Argive plain. The first labor looms before you, courtesy of that petty King Eurystheus, who's probably sipping wine in his palace while you sweat it out. Remember that oracle's decree? Serve him, atone for your past sins, and maybe, just maybe, earn a shot at peace. But peace feels distant now, as whispers of a monstrous lion ripple through the villages. A beast that's turned the valley into its personal buffet line. You grip your club, a massive olive wood hunk you've carved yourself, feeling its rough bark against your palms. The air smells of fear and fur, mingled with the faint tang of blood from its latest kills. This isn't some house cat. It's the Nemean Lion, offspring of Typhon and Echidna, or so the myths murmur, with a hide tougher than any armor forged by man. You trudge into the rocky hills, your sandals crunching over pebbles that seem to shift like traitors underfoot. The lion's lair is a cave high up, echoing with distant growls that make your spine tingle. Like that ASMR video gone horribly wrong. Villagers have fled, farms abandoned, and you're the cleanup crew. Modern aside, if this were today, it'd be all over social media. Hashtags like Lion Rampage trending while influencers debate vegan alternatives for monster diets. But here, it's just you, the demigod with daddy issues, versus a furry apocalypse. You spot tracks first, huge paw prints sunk deep into the earth, each one wide as your chest. Your heart pounds a steady rhythm, not fear exactly, but that electric buzz of knowing you're about to tango with death. Circling the cave, you call out a challenge, your voice booming off the cliffs. Nothing. Then a shadow stirs, and out it lunges, golden fur rippling over muscles that could bench press a boulder, eyes glowing like embers in a forgotten fire. Its roar shakes the ground, vibrating through your bones, and you dodge as it swipes, claws whistling past your ear. Swords? Useless. Arrows? They bounce off like rubber bands. This hide is impenetrable, a gift from the gods or nature's cruel joke. You swing your club, connecting with a crack that echoes like thunder, but the lion just shakes it off and pounces again. You're rolling in the dirt now, dust clouding your vision, tasting grit on your tongue. Joke 1. Fighting this thing feels like arm wrestling a freight train, except the train has teeth and a bad attitude. You grapple, your arms locking around its neck in a desperate hug, squeezing with every ounce of your divine strength. The beast thrashes, its hot breath blasting your face, fur matted with sweat and saliva. Minutes stretch into what feels like hours, your muscles burning, veins popping like overinflated balloons. Finally, a snap. Not yours, thank the gods, and the lion goes limp. You've strangled it, your hands raw and trembling. Now, the tricky part, skinning it. Your weapons fail again, so you use its own claws, slicing carefully. The metallic scent of blood filling the air. Quirky tidbit. Some lesser-known tales say the lion's pelt was woven with golden threads from the sun god himself, making it shimmer like a disco ball in battle. Fancy armor with a side of bling. Draping the fresh hide over your shoulders, you feel its weight, warm and invincible, a trophy that screams, "Don't mess with me." You head back to Tyrann's, Eurystheus's stronghold, the lion's head dangling from your belt like a gruesome keychain. The king cowers in a bronze jar. Yes, really, he hides in a pot like a scared turtle, refusing to believe you've done it. But there it is, proof in fur and fangs. This labor isn't just about brawn, it's a statement. You've turned a terror into your signature look, that lion skin becoming your cape for the ages. Historians still argue whether the Nemean lion was a real beast exaggerated by folklore, or a symbol for conquering untamed nature. Some say it represents the stars, a constellation Hercules pinned to the sky. As you catch your breath, the valley quiets, birds returning to their songs, a soft breeze whispering through the olives. But rest? Not yet. Eurystheus, that sniveling cousin, has more in store, each task ramping up like levels in a video game from Hades. You wipe sweat from your brow, the pelt already feeling like a second skin, protective yet heavy with the blood of victory. Joke 2. Wearing a lion's hide? It's the original faux fur fashion, eco-friendly if you ignore the wrestling match. The sun dips lower, casting long shadows, and you sense Hera's gaze, her jealousy simmering like a pot about to boil over. She's not done meddling, not by a long shot. You press on, the path winding toward the next nightmare, your steps firmer now, fueled by that first win. The labors are stacking up, each one etching deeper into your legend. Sensory-wise, the cool evening air kisses your skin, a brief respite before the heat of battle returns. And hey, if you're drifting off already, imagine that lion's roar as a lullaby. Gritty, sure, but oddly rhythmic. But stay with me. The hydras waiting in the wings, heads multiplying like bad ideas at 3 a.m. Joke 3. Eurystheus probably thinks he's clever, but sending you after invincible beasts? It's like assigning homework to Superman. Pointless, but entertaining for the rest of us. You slosh through the murky wetlands of Lerna, the ground sucking at your feet like a needy X, each step releasing a pungent whiff of decay and stagnant water. The Nemean Lion's pelt clings to your shoulders, still warm from the sun, a constant reminder of your first victory. But it's no shield against the dread pooling in your gut. Eurystheus, safe in his jar, has upped the ante with this second labor. Slay the Lernaean Hydra, a serpent spawned from the same monstrous lineage as that lion you just skinned. The air hangs heavy, thick with mist that curls around your legs like ghostly fingers, and the distant croak of frogs sounds almost mocking, as if they're betting on the beast. You can taste the bitterness of the swamp on your tongue, a mix of rot and something sharper, poison perhaps, seeping from the earth itself. Pushing deeper, reeds brush against your skin, whispering secrets you don't want to hear. The Hydra's lair is a cavernous spring, waters black as midnight ink, bubbling with toxic fumes that make your eyes water. Legends say this creature guards an entrance to the underworld, its head snapping like living whips, each breath exhaling venom that could fell an army. You ready your club and sword, the lion's claws glinting at your belt, but doubt creeps in. Remember how arrows bounced off the lion? This might be worse. A villager's warning echoes in your mind. Cut off one head, and two grow back. Modern aside, it's like trying to delete spam emails. They just multiply in your inbox overnight. You spot it then, coiled in the shallows, scales glistening under fractured sunlight piercing the canopy. 9 heads. Wait, or is it 50? Myths vary, but let's say 9 for now, with the central one immortal, a golden nightmare amid the writhing mass. Its eyes lock on you, slit pupils dilating with hunger, and it rears up, water cascading off its body like a foul shower. You charge, sword flashing, severing the first head with a wet thud. Blood sprays, acidic and sizzling, burning your arm where it splatters. Ow, that's going to leave a mark. But horror unfolds. From the stump, 2 new heads sprout, hissing and lunging faster than before. Joke 1. It's nature's worst buy one, get one free deal, except you're paying with your life. Panic surges, but you're Hercules. You adapt. You call for help. Your nephew Iolaus, tagging along like a trusty sidekick in a buddy cop flick. He torches the necks with a flaming brand as you hack, cauterizing the wounds to stop the regrowth. The air fills with the acrid stench of burning flesh, smoke stinging your nostrils, mixing with the swamp's rot into a nauseating cocktail. Heads fall one by one. Thwack, sizzle, repeat. Your arms aching from the swings, sweat pouring down your back under that heavy pelt. The Hydra thrashes, tails whipping the water into froth, sending waves that soak you to the bone. You dodge fangs dripping venom, each drop hissing as it hits the ground, eating through rock like acid, through paper. Finally, only the immortal head remains, glaring with eternal malice. You bury it under a massive boulder, its muffled hisses fading like a bad dream. The body twitches once, then stills, the swamp seeming to exhale in relief. You dip your arrows in the spilled blood. Quirky tidbit. This poison becomes your secret weapon later, so potent it could kill gods, or at least make them wish they were mortal for a day. But victory's bittersweet. Eurystheus, that rule-mongering weasel, later claims this labor doesn't count because Iolaus helped. Cheater? You? Pot, meet kettle. As you trudge out, the mist lifts slightly, birdsong resuming like a tentative applause. Your burns throb, a reminder of the Hydra's bite, but you've conquered regeneration itself. Mainstream historical fact. The Hydra myth appears in Hesiod's Theogony, symbolizing chaos subdued by order, a motif echoed in Greek art from vases to temple friezes. Historians still argue whether the multi-headed beast represents real multi-branched rivers in Lerna that Hercules defeated by draining swamps, practical engineering disguised as epic slaying, or pure fantasy. You shake off the water, the lion skin dripping, feeling a bit lighter despite the exhaustion. Joke 2. Battling a Hydra? It's like arguing on the internet. Cut down one troll, and two more pop up with even dumber opinions. The sun filters through, warming your chilled skin, and you sense the gods' mixed reactions. Zeus proud, Hera seething, plotting her next curveball. But for now, breathe in the cleaner air edging the swamp, the earthy scent grounding you. Your legend grows with each labor, a tapestry woven from blood and triumph. Pressing on, the path dries underfoot, leading toward wilder terrains. The next task whispers on the wind. A deer so fleet it mocks the gods themselves. Your muscles protest, but resolve hardens like the cauterized stumps you left behind. Sensory overload fades to a dull hum, the splash of water replaced by rustling leaves, the poison's bite a fading itch. If you're nodding off, let the Hydra's hisses lull you, a twisted white noise machine. But hang in there. The chase is about to begin, testing not just strength, but the patience of a saint. Joke 3. Eurystheus sending you after a speedy deer next? It's like following up a boss fight with a marathon, because why not add cardio to your apocalypse workout? You emerge from the Lernaean swamp's clinging grasp, the Hydra's poison still tingling on your skin like a bad tattoo you can't scrub off. Your arrows now tipped with that deadly brew for future fun. The path ahead brightens, trading muck for the crisp scent of pine and wildflowers as you head north toward Mount Artemisium. Eurystheus, ever the creative tormentor, isn't giving you a breather. His next command echoes in your ears. Capture the Golden Hind, sacred to Artemis, goddess of the hunt. Not kill it, mind you. Just snag this elusive deer alive and kicking, like trying to lasso a ghost in broad daylight. The air turns cooler, laced with the earthy freshness of forests untouched by man, leaves rustling overhead, like nature's applause for your survival so far. Your lion pelt shifts on your shoulders, a familiar weight, but now it's joined by the weight of divine politics. Artemis doesn't take kindly to mortals messing with her pets. You delve into the enchanted woods of Cerynea, trees towering like ancient sentinels, their branches weaving a canopy that filters sunlight into golden shafts dancing on the forest floor. The hind is no ordinary deer. Antlers of pure gold gleam like they've been dipped in Olympus's treasury, hooves of bronze that barely touch the ground, leaving trails that sparkle faintly before fading. It's said to be faster than an arrow in flight, a creature that once drew Artemis's chariot or escaped her wrath. Stories blur in the telling. You track it by subtle signs, a nibbled leaf here, a hoof print there, the faint metallic tang in the air like pennies after rain. Modern aside, chasing this thing feels like playing tag with a caffeinated squirrel on steroids, if squirrels had bling and divine protection. Days blur into weeks, your pursuit a marathon of frustration and awe. You sprint through underbrush that snags at your legs, thorns drawing pinpricks of blood that heal almost as fast as they appear, thanks to that godly bloodline. The hind darts ahead, a flash of gold against green, always just out of reach, its speed mocking your every lunge. You camp under starlit skies, the night chill seeping through your pelt, listening to owls hoot like they're in on the joke. Joke 1. Pursuing a deer that's basically a living Ferrari? It's the ancient Greek version of road rage, minus the traffic jams. Though the trees do a good job of playing bumper cars. Hunger gnaws at you, but you forage berries and nuts. Their tart bursts on your tongue a small comfort amid the endless chase. One night, by a moonlit stream, you glimpse her drinking, antlers reflecting in the water like a crown of liquid fire. You creep closer, heart thumping a steady drum, but she bolts, leaving you sprawled in the mud, cursing under your breath. Remember the Hydra's heads? This feels similar. Every near miss multiplies your resolve, or maybe your madness. You clever up, setting snares with vines and branches, but she leaps them like hurdles in an Olympic event she invented. Finally, on the slopes of Mount Augean, after a year, yes, a whole year of this cat-and-mouse madness, you corner her at a riverbank, the water rushing cold and clear over rocks. You fire an arrow, not to kill, but to graze, the hydra-tipped shaft nicking her leg just enough to slow her without fatal harm. She stumbles, and you pounce, wrapping arms around her neck in a gentle but firm hold, feeling the warmth of her fur, the rapid pulse beneath. She struggles, bronze hooves kicking up spray that soaks you, but your strength prevails. Quirky tidbit, some fringe myths whisper that the hind wept golden tears during capture, tears that turned to amber jewels where they fell. Lost treasures hunters still seek in those woods today. You bind her carefully, a makeshift leash from your belt, and begin the long trek back, her golden glow lighting the path like a living lantern. Arriving at Tiryns, you present the hind to Eurystheus, who gapes from his hiding spot. Another jar session, apparently his go-to panic room. He releases her back to Artemis, as if to say, no harm done, but you've proven your cunning outweighs brute force. This labor shifts the narrative. It's not just smashing monsters, but outsmarting the wild. Mainstream historical fact. The Ceryneian Hind appears in Pindar's odes, celebrating athletic prowess, linking Hercules' feats to the Olympic Games' origins. Historians still argue whether this labor symbolizes the taming of nomadic tribes or a real hunt for rare white deer in ancient Arcadia, ecological metaphor, or hunter's tall tale. As you watch the hind bound away, free once more, a soft wind carries the scent of freedom, pine mingling with relief. Your legs ache from the endless miles, a dull throb that fades slower than usual, but triumph warms you like a hearth fire. Joke 2. Capturing a sacred deer alive? It's like vegan hunting. All the thrill, none of the barbecue. The forest recedes behind you, paths forking toward snowier peaks, where the next beast waits with tusks and temper. Hera's influence lingers, a subtle chill in the air, but you've dodged her direct ire this time. Breathe deep, the crisp oxygen filling your lungs, grounding you for what's ahead. The sun sets in hues of amber, echoing the hind's antlers, and you feel the pull of rest, though true sleep eludes heroes like you. If your eyelids are heavy now, let the rustle of leaves be your blanket, soft and enveloping. But linger a bit. The boar's grunt echoes faintly on the horizon, promising a wrestle in the white. Joke 3. Eurystheus picking a boar next. It's like escalating from speed dating to sumo wrestling, because your life's not chaotic enough already. You leave the fading glow of the golden hind behind, her bronze hooves echoing softly in your memory as you turn toward the rugged peaks of Mount Erymanthos, the chill already nipping at your heels like an impatient puppy. The air sharpens, carrying the crisp bite of impending winter, pine needles crunching underfoot as the landscape climbs steeper, trading lush forests for barren slopes dusted in frost. Eurystheus, that perpetual thorn in your side, has decreed your fourth labor. Wait, no, fifth now, since he nitpicked the Hydra one. Capture the Erymanthian Boar, a colossal swine that's been rampaging through Arcadia, uprooting trees and terrorizing shepherds like a living earthquake on trotters. Your lion pelt wraps tighter around you, its fur a barrier against the wind whistling through the passes, but even divine hides can't fully ward off the bone-deep cold seeping in. Remember the Hydra's swamp heat? This is its icy revenge, every breath fogging the air like a personal cloud machine. Ascending the mountain, snowflakes begin to dance around you, soft at first, then thickening into a blanket that muffles the world, your footsteps sinking into drifts that pull like quicksand disguised as fluff. The boar's tracks are massive, gouges in the earth wide as your thigh, leading upward through treacherous paths where one slip could send you tumbling into oblivion. You hear its distant grunts, low and rumbling like thunder trapped in a barrel, vibrating through the ground. This isn't some farm pig. It's a beast of epic proportions. Tusks curved like scimitars, hide thick as armor, eyes burning with feral rage. Myths say it was raised by the centaurs or born from the wilds themselves. Either way, it's got a grudge against anything on two legs. Modern aside, tracking this porker feels like starring in a survival show, complete with freeze-frame drama and zero sponsor breaks for energy bars. You push on through the blizzard, wind howling in your ears like a chorus of disgruntled ghosts, flakes stinging your face and clinging to your beard in icy beads. Your club feels heavier in the thin air, lungs burning with each labored breath, but that demigod stamina kicks in, propelling you forward. Along the way, you stumble upon a centaur's cave. Pholus, a rare friendly one, offers shelter and wine from a sacred jar. You share stories by the fire's crackle, flames dancing shadows on the walls, the rich fermented scent warming your nostrils. But chaos ensues when other centaurs crash the party, drawn by the wine's allure. A brawl erupts, hooves flying, arrows whizzing, and you fend them off with your bow, those hydra-tipped shafts dropping them like bad habits. Poor Pholus perishes in the fray, a stray arrow his end. Joke 1. Hosting centaurs for drinks. It's like inviting frat boys to a tea party. Things escalate from 0 to stampede in seconds. Emerging from the cave, the storm has eased to a gentle flurry, moonlight glazing the snow in silver hues that make the mountain look like a frosted cake you'd rather not bite into. You resume the hunt, following the boar's steaming trail, fresh droppings and uprooted boulders marking its path like breadcrumbs from a giant's picnic. The cold numbs your fingers, but you flex them around your net, woven strong for this very purpose. Finally, you spot it in a high clearing, snorting clouds of breath, its bristly back heaving, tusks gleaming under the stars. It charges, the ground shaking like an avalanche in slow motion, snow exploding in its wake. You dodge, rolling through powder that cushions but chills, then counter with your club, a solid thwack against its flank that echoes off the peaks. The wrestle is primal. You grapple its massive form, arms straining against muscle and fury, its hot, musky scent overwhelming as it thrashes. Tusks graze your side, a sharp burn that draws blood, warm trickling down your skin in contrast to the freeze. You drive it into deeper snowdrifts, using the terrain like a clever trap, exhausting the beast until it tires, its roars fading to weary grunts. With ropes and net, you bind it, hooves kicking futilely, and hoist it onto your shoulders. The weight immense, like carrying a small hill, but you manage, descending the slopes with careful steps, the snow creaking under the added burden. Quirky tidbit. Fringe legends claim the boar's blood, spilled on the snow, birthed the first red poppies of spring, flowers that nod sleepily as if remembering the chase, nature's nod to your epic nap-inducer. Presenting the trussed boar to Eurystheus, you watch him dive into his jar again, the pig's squeals probably haunting his dreams for weeks. He releases it back to the wilds, but you've tamed winter's wrath. This labor highlights endurance over speed, a shift from the hind's fleet-footed tease. Mainstream historical fact: the Erymanthian boar features in Euripides' plays, embodying untamed nature in Greek tragedy, often depicted on coins from Arcadia as a symbol of regional pride. Historians still argue whether this tale draws from real boar hunts in ancient Greece or allegorizes seasonal cycles, slaying winter's beast to usher in renewal. As you thaw by a fire in the foothills, flames licking the chill from your bones, the scent of roasting herbs mingling with melting snow, relief settles like a warm blanket. Your wounds heal, a faint scar from the tusk, a new badge alongside the Hydra burns. Joke 2. Hauling a giant boar downhill? It's the original extreme sledding, except the sled bites back and smells like wet dog. The mountain recedes, paths flattening toward sun-baked plains where filth awaits in stables unfit for man or beast. Hera's whispers fade in the warming breeze, but you know she's scheming, her jealousy a constant hum like that fan you might have on right now. Night falls softer here, stars winking through thinning clouds, inviting a moment's peace. If your thoughts are drifting, let the boar's distant echo be a rumble of thunder far off, soothing in its removal. But stir yourself. The next task reeks of cleverness over claws, a puzzle wrapped in muck. Joke 3. Cleaning stables after this? Eurystheus must think you're on a roll, from snowy peaks to poopy creeks, because variety is the spice of heroic suffering. You descend from the frosty heights of Erymanthos, the boar's weight no longer burdening your shoulders, but etched in the ache of your muscles, a lingering reminder of winter's grip as warmer winds usher you toward the sun-drenched plains of Elis. The air shifts from crisp pine to the heavy, fertile scent of river valleys, where the Alpheus and Peneus carve lazy paths through lush fields. Eurystheus, plotting from his cozy coward's jar, flips the script on you now. No more chasing beasts through blizzards or swamps. Instead, clean the Augean Stables, home to King Augeas's immortal cattle, untouched by shovel or broom for 30 years, filth piled high as hills, a stench that could wilt Olympus itself. Your lion pelt feels almost too clean against your skin, but soon it'll be tested by muck that makes the Hydra's lair smell like a spa. Remember the boar's snowy drifts? This is their sloppy, steaming counterpart, a task designed to humiliate more than harm. Hera's subtle dig at your heroic ego. You arrive at the sprawling stables, the sun baking the ground into cracked clay, heat waves shimmering like mirages over the endless rows of stalls. Thousands of cattle low contentedly, oblivious to the sea of manure surrounding them, flies buzzing in thick clouds that hum like a faulty fan on high. The odor hits you first, a wall of ammonia and decay that burns your eyes, makes your stomach churn, seeping into every pore until you taste it on your tongue. Augeas, the king with a smirk wider than his neglected barns, greets you with feigned hospitality, promising 1/10 of his herd if you succeed in a day. You nod, but inside you're plotting. Brute force won't cut it here, not with piles that could bury a village. Modern aside, it's like tackling a hoarder house on reality TV, except the horde is alive and multiplying, and there's no commercial break for therapy. Surveying the scene, you pace the riverbanks, the cool rush of water over stones, a stark contrast to the stagnant horror behind you. The Alpheus flows strong, fed by mountain melts, its current whispering ideas as it swirls around your feet. Cleverness sparks. Why fight the filth when nature can do the heavy lifting? You grab a shovel, not for scooping, but for engineering, digging channels with swift, deliberate strokes, earth crumbling under your strength like dry bread. Sweat beads on your brow, mixing with the ever-present dust as you reroute the rivers, their waters surging into the stables like uninvited guests at a party. Joke 1. Diverting rivers to clean cow poop. It's the ancient equivalent of power washing your driveway, except your driveway is a biohazard and the washer is a God-gifted flood. The waters roar in, a frothy torrent that sweeps through the stalls, cattle lowing in surprise as the muck dissolves into a swirling soup, carried away downstream in a muddy cascade. You stand atop a hillock, watching the transformation, the air gradually clearing from choking haze to a fresher breeze laced with wet earth. By dusk, the stables gleam. Well, as much as barns can. Floors scoured, walls rinsed, the rivers resuming their paths as if nothing happened. Augeas balks at paying up, claiming the gods helped, technically true since you're half divine. But you let it slide. The labor's done, and Eurystheus fumes back home, declaring this one invalid too because of the river trick. Rules lawyering at its finest. Quirky tidbit. Some obscure variants say the cleansed manure fertilized the first olive groves in Elis, turning waste into the oil that lit lamps across Greece. Recycling before it was cool, Hercules style. This feat flips the labors on their head, proving brains over brawn can conquer even the grossest challenges. You wipe your hands on your pelt. the faint residue a badge of ingenuity, feeling the sun's warmth dry your damp clothes as evening cools the valley. Mainstream historical fact. The Augean Stables myth is detailed in Diodorus Siculus's historical library, illustrating hydraulic engineering in ancient tales, possibly inspired by real irrigation systems in the Peloponnese. Historians still argue whether this labor represents actual flood control projects by early Greeks or a metaphor for purging corruption in kingship, practical heroics, or political allegory. As the stars emerge, twinkling like scattered jewels over the now serene rivers, you exhale deeply, the clean rush of water a soothing soundtrack to your thoughts. Your body, weary from digging, craves rest, but the call of the next trial tugs like an insistent dream. Joke 2. Finishing the stables in a day. It's like binge cleaning your room before company arrives. Miraculous. But now everything smells suspiciously like victory and vague regret. The night air carries hints of blooming night flowers, a gentle perfume overriding the faded stench, inviting you to linger in this moment of quiet triumph. Hera's meddling feels distant here, her storms held at bay by your wits, though you know she'll rally for the feathered foes ahead. You turn southward, paths meandering toward marshy lands where birds of ill omen await. The ground firms under your steps, rivers gurgling farewell as you go. If your mind wanders now, let the water's flow carry you toward slumber, a soft current of peace amid the epic. But whisper awake a little longer. The Stymphalian skies are darkening with wings sharper than any blade you've faced. Sensory echoes linger, the splash of diverted streams, the lift of burden from your shoulders, like a weightless drift into repose. Joke 3. From boars to barns, Eurystheus is really diversifying your resume. Next up, pest control. Because who needs the exterminator when you've got a demigod on speed dial? You stride away from the freshly scoured Augean stables, the faint gurgle of redirected rivers fading behind you like a victory tune played on nature's own strings. Your lion pelt now carrying a hint of damp earth from the day's clever triumph. The path twists toward Lake Stymphalia, where the air grows heavy again, not with the stench of manure, but with a damp, metallic tang that clings to your throat like a warning. Eurystheus, still sulking over your river trick, has tossed you into another mess. Rid the region of the Stymphalian Birds, a flock of man-eating, bronze-beaked monsters with feathers sharp as daggers and a knack for souring the skies. Your sandals sink slightly into the marshy ground, reeds brushing your calves like skeletal fingers, while the distant screech of wings cuts through the dusk, sharp enough to make your ears flinch. The lion's skin feels heavier here, as if it senses the threat above, where clouds churn like a bad omen brewing. You reach the lake's edge, its surface a dull mirror reflecting a sky bruised purple, the water lapping softly against mossy rocks with a rhythm that's almost too calm for what's coming. These aren't your garden variety pigeons. Myths whisper they're pets of Ares, god of war, or spawned from some forgotten curse. Their droppings toxic enough to wither crops and sicken villagers. You scan the treetops, where dark shapes flit, their bronze feathers glinting like scattered coins under fleeting moonlight. Each screech vibrates through your chest, a sound like metal scraping bone, and you feel the weight of countless eyes watching from the canopy. Modern aside, it's like walking into a horror flick where the birds have unionized and decided humans are the main course. No Hitchcock cameo needed. You try a direct approach first, knocking a Hydra-poisoned arrow and firing at a low-flying shadow. The arrow strikes, but the bird barely falters, its feathers deflecting the shot with a clang that echoes like a dropped sword. They swarm, a feathered storm descending, wings slicing the air, each feather a razor you dodge by inches, one grazing your arm to draw a thin line of blood that stings like a paper cut from Hades. You need a plan, fast. Rummaging through your gear, you recall a gift from Athena, because even gods know you're in over your head sometimes. It's a pair of bronze castanets, crafted by Hephaestus, their clatter designed to spook the flock. You bang them together, the sound exploding like a thunderclap, reverberating across the lake. The birds panic, rising in a chaotic cloud, their screeches turning frantic as they spiral upward. Seizing the moment, you loose arrow after arrow, the hydra venom finally finding softer targets, eyes, underbellies, each hit dropping a bird into the water with a splash that ripples outward, dark waves tinged with poison. Some flee, wings beating a retreat to distant peaks, while others litter the shore, their bronze feathers sinking into the mud like cursed treasure. You wade through the shallows, the cold water numbing your legs, collecting feathers as proof, their edges sharp enough to slice your palms if you're careless. Quirky tidbit. Some fringe tales claim these feathers were later forged into ceremonial daggers for Arcadian priests, glinting in rituals like grim souvenirs of your cleanup job. Talk about upcycling with a vengeance. By dawn, the lake is quiet, the air lighter, though it still carries a faint metallic aftertaste, like licking a coin. The villagers creep back, their gratitude a soft murmur against the morning breeze. Crops safe, skies clear. You've turned a war zone into a sanctuary, but Eurystheus, predictably, grumbles about the divine aid, those castanets, though he can't fully discount this one. Mainstream historical fact. The Stymphalian birds appear in Apollodorus's library, symbolizing pestilence or invasive species in ancient lore, possibly inspired by real migratory birds plaguing early Greek farmers. Historians still argue whether this labor reflects ecological struggles or a mythic purge of warlike chaos tied to Ares' influence, nature's wrath or divine tantrum. As you leave the marsh, reeds parting like a curtain, the sun warms your face, drying the sweat and blood from your skin. The lion pelt a comforting weight again. Your arms ache from the bow, fingers tingling from the castanet's grip. But there's a rhythm to this victory, a beat you've set against the gods' odds. Joke 1. Scattering killer birds with noisemakers? It's like breaking up a rave with a really bad DJ. Effective, but you're not winning any popularity contests. The path ahead stretches toward saltier shores, where a bull's bellow promises a different kind of wrestle. Hera's presence lingers, a prickle at your neck, but you've outsmarted her feathered minions for now. You breathe deep, the lake's dampness giving way to the scent of wild thyme on the wind, grounding you in the moment's calm. If your eyes are drooping, let the water's lap be your lullaby, gentle and rhythmic, a soft echo of triumph. But stay with me. Crete's calling, and its bull is no petting zoo prize. Joke 2. From birds to bulls? Eurystheus is curating your life like a chaotic zoo tour, and you're the only exhibit breaking a sweat. The horizon glows, dawn painting it gold, urging you forward. Joke 3. Those bronze feathers as trophies? It's like keeping razor blades as souvenirs. Badass, but try not to cut yourself showing off. You leave the Stymphalian marshes behind, the metallic tang of those razor-winged birds fading like a bad aftertaste. Your quiver lighter, but your heart heavier with the rhythm of survival. The path now stretches toward the sea, salt air teasing your nostrils as you approach the shores of Mycenae, where a ship waits to carry you to Crete. Eurystheus, still rattled from your bird-banishing percussion show, has a new labor up his sleeve. Capture the Cretan Bull, a magnificent beast tied to Minos' kingdom and father to the infamous Minotaur. Your lion pelt sways with each step, its familiar weight grounding you as waves crash against rocky cliffs, their spray misting your face like a cool, briny kiss. The journey across the Aegean feels like stepping into a myth within a myth, the horizon shimmering with promise and peril. You board the creaking vessel, the scent of tarred wood and seaweed filling your lungs, sails snapping in the wind like impatient flags. The sea rolls beneath you, a restless beast itself, rocking the ship as you grip the rail, tasting salt on your lips and squinting against the sun's glare bouncing off the water. Crete looms, its mountains jagged against a sky too blue to trust. The bull, a gift from Poseidon to King Minos, was meant for sacrifice but kept for pride. Classic mortal mistake, angering gods and spawning monsters. Now it roams wild, tearing up fields, its bellows shaking villages like a divine tantrum. You disembark, sandals sinking into warm sand, the air thick with olive blossoms and the faint musk of livestock carried on the breeze. Locals point you toward the plains, their eyes wide with fear and awe, whispering of a bull white as sea foam, with horns curved like crescent moons and strength to topple walls. Modern aside, it's like chasing a rodeo star with a grudge, except this one's got divine DNA and no interest in 8-second rides. You track it across Crete's sun-baked fields, dust rising in clouds that coat your throat, the ground scarred with hoof marks deep as dinner plates. The bull's trail leads through vineyards, crushed grapes staining the earth like spilled wine, their sweet tart scent mingling with your sweat. You hear it before you see it, a bellow that vibrates your bones, deep and primal, like the earth itself is clearing its throat. There it stands, massive, gleaming white against the golden grass, muscles rippling under its hide, eyes burning with a fury that feels personal. You ready your club, but this isn't about killing. Eurystheus wants it alive, a trophy to parade. You charge, dodging horns that swing like battering rams, each miss a whisper of death brushing your skin. Joke 1. Wrestling a divine bull? It's like arm wrestling a tsunami, except this tsunami has an attitude and better headgear. The bull charges, hooves thundering, kicking up clods that pelt you like hail. You leap aside, rolling through grass that scratches your arms, then spring up, looping a rope around its neck in one fluid motion, hydra-tipped arrows tucked away to avoid a fatal slip. It bucks, dragging you across the field, your heels digging furrows as you hold tight, muscles screaming under the strain. The rope burns your palms, a searing heat that matches the sun overhead, but you twist and pull, using its momentum against it, guiding it toward exhaustion. Hours blur, sweat blinding you until it slows, snorting wearily, steam rising from its flanks like a dragon winding down. You tie its legs, gentle but firm, feeling the heat of its hide as you secure the knots, its breath hot against your hands. Sailing back to Tyrans with the bull tethered on deck, the sea calmer now. You watch Crete fade, the bull's low grumbles blending with the waves' rhythm. Eurystheus gawks from his jar. Yes, he's still doing that. Before ordering the bull released to Marathon, where it'll cause headaches for another hero later. This labor proves you can tame divine wrath, not just slay it. Mainstream historical fact. The Cretan bull appears in Apollodorus's library, linked to Minoan bull-leaping rituals, possibly reflecting Crete's real bull cults seen in Knossos frescoes. Historians still argue whether this labor symbolizes Greek dominance over Cretan culture or a literal hunt for an escaped sacred animal, political flex, or pastoral problem. You step onto mainland soil, the bull's weight off your shoulders, but its struggle etched in your aching arms, the sea's salt lingering on your skin like a second pelt. Quirky tidbit. Some obscure tales say the bull's sweat, spilled during your wrestle, sprouted the first Cretan oregano, giving the island's cuisine its signature kick. Heroics with a side of seasoning. The air warms, carrying hints of distant fires, a reminder of Hera's ever-watchful spite. Joke 2. Hauling a bull across the sea? It's the original cruise from hell. Hope you packed your seasickness pills and a really strong leash. Night falls, stars glinting like scattered coins, the sea's lullaby soothing your battered body. If you're drifting off, let the waves' gentle rock be your cradle. The bull's distant low, a rumbling dream. But hold on. The next task beckons, with horses that hunger for more than hay. Joke 3. Eurystheus sending you after man-eating mares now? It's like upgrading from a bull rodeo to a horror show petting zoo because your resume needed more bite marks. You step off the ship at Tyrans. The Cretan bull's bellows still echoing in your ears like a grumpy alarm clock you can't snooze. The salt-crusted air of the Aegean giving way to the dry, dusty warmth of the mainland. Your lion pelt clings to your shoulders, a bit heavier with sea spray. But it's your badge of survival as you face Eurystheus's next labor. Steal the man-eating mares of Diomedes, king of the warlike Thracians. The path north to Thrace feels endless, winding through rocky hills where the wind carries a faint metallic tang, not unlike the Stymphalian marshes, but sharper, bloodier. Your sandals kick up grit, the ground growing harder, colder as you near the Bistonian plains, where these horses graze not on grass, but on flesh. The air hums with danger, a low vibration you feel in your chest, like standing too close to a storm about to break. Thrace greets you with a chill that seeps through your pelt. The landscape's stark. Jagged cliffs, sparse grass, and the distant roar of the Black Sea pounding its shores. Diomedes' fortress looms, a grim pile of stone reeking of sweat and iron, where his 4 mares, Maron, Podargos, Lampon, and Xanthos, are stabled, their iron chains clanking like a warning bell. Myths say these beasts, born of divine blood or cursed by Ares, devour trespassers, their teeth gleaming like daggers, eyes wild with hunger. You hear their whinnies, sharp and guttural, slicing through the dusk as you approach, the scent of blood and hay mixing in a way that twists your stomach. Modern aside, it's like sneaking into a junkyard guarded by rabid monster trucks, except these have hooves and a taste for barbecue. You're the main course. You scout the stables under moonlight, shadows dancing across walls stained with ominous streaks, your breath fogging in the crisp night air. The mares are magnificent, sleek, muscled, their coats glinting like polished bronze, but their snorts carry a feral edge, teeth snapping as they sense you. You try stealth, slipping toward the chains, but a guard spots you, and chaos erupts. Thracian warriors swarm, spears flashing, their shouts echoing off stone like a pack of wolves on the hunt. You swing your club, cracking skulls with a thud that reverberates through your arms, Hydra-tipped arrows felling others in a blur of motion. The fight's a whirlwind, your blood pumping, sweat stinging your eyes, until the guards lie scattered, the ground slick with their defeat. Joke 1. Battling Thracians for horses. It's like crashing a biker gang's party to steal their rides, except the bikes bite back. Now for the mares. You break their chains, the iron snapping under your strength. But they turn on you, hooves sparking against stone, jaws snapping inches from your face. You dodge, feeling the rush of air as teeth graze your arm, a hot sting of near miss. Thinking fast, you drive them toward the sea, herding them with shouts and club swings, their hooves churning the earth into a muddy storm. At the shore, waves crashing cold and frothy, you wrestle each mare, pinning their necks, feeling their hot breath blast your skin as you bind them with ropes. It's a sweaty, bruising dance, your muscles burning, the salty spray mixing with the metallic scent of their rage. You drag them to your ship, their struggles rocking the deck like a tempest in a bottle. Sailing back, the mares secured below, you hear their muffled kicks against the hull, a rhythm like a heartbeat of chaos. Eurystheus, predictably jar-bound, accepts the mares, but releases them to roam. Bad call, since they'll haunt Thrace's myths later. This labor proves you can conquer not just beasts, but entire warbands. Mainstream historical fact. The mares appear in Euripides' Alcestis, tying Hercules' feats to Thracian warrior culture, possibly reflecting real horse-breeding tribes in the region. Historians still argue whether this task symbolizes taming barbaric lands or a literal raid on prized livestock, cultural conquest, or glorified horse theft. Quirky tidbit. Some fringe tales claim the mares' saliva sparked wildfires when it touched dry grass, birthing Thrace's infamous summer blazes, nature's way of keeping their legend alive. As you dock, the sea's salt clings to your skin, mingling with the ache of bruises and rope burns, a sensory map of your triumph. The stars above glitter like scattered embers, the air warming as you step onto familiar soil, Thrace's chill left behind. Joke 2. Stealing cannibal horses? It's like hot-wiring a carnivorous Ferrari. Thrilling, but you're definitely not covered by insurance. Hera's presence hums faintly, her schemes foiled again, though you feel her eyes in the night's shadows, plotting. The path ahead curves toward Amazon lands, where a queen's girdle waits, promising a clash of wits and wills. If your eyelids droop, let the sea's distant crash lull you, a soft echo of the mare's tamed fury. But linger a moment. The next labor trades hooves for diplomacy, with a side of danger sharper than bronze feathers. Joke 3. Eurystheus sending you to the Amazons now? It's like swapping a death match for a negotiation with warrior queens, because nothing screams relax like a room full of armed women who bench press more than you. You leave the Thracian shores behind, the mare's savage whinnies fading into the sea's rhythmic churn, your lion pelt still damp with salt spray and the faint musk of horseflesh clinging to your hands. The path now points toward the land of the Amazons, a realm of warrior women where the air feels charged, like the moment before a storm cracks open the sky. Eurystheus, ever eager to test your limits, demands you fetch the girdle of Hippolyta, queen of these fierce fighters, a belt gifted by Ares himself, symbolizing her rule. Your ship cuts through waves, the creak of wood and snap of sails blending with the briny tang on your tongue as you sail toward the Thermodon River's mouth. The lion skin chafes against your rope-burned shoulders, a reminder of the mare's fight. But it's your wits, not just muscle, that'll face this new trial. The Amazons don't mess around, and neither does their queen. You land on their shores, the air thick with heat and the scent of wild herbs, the river's muddy banks squelching under your sandals. The Amazon capital, Themyscira, buzzes with life. Women in leather armor sparring, their laughter sharp as their spears, eyes tracking you like hawks sizing up prey. Hippolyta greets you, tall and commanding, her girdle gleaming at her waist, a band of gold and leather studded with gems that catch the sun like trapped fire. She's gracious at first, offering wine and bread, the warm, yeasty aroma a brief comfort as you sit by her fire, its crackle punctuating your talks. You explain your mission, voice steady, though her warrior's stares bore into you, their hands never far from their blades. She seems willing to part with the girdle. Diplomacy might just win this one. Modern aside, it's like negotiating a deal with a CEO who runs a fight club on weekends. Smile, but keep your guard up. Then Hera stirs the pot, as she does, whispering doubts among the Amazons. Rumors spread that you plan to kidnap their queen, and the mood shifts faster than a trending hashtag. Swords are drawn, arrows knocked, and you're suddenly in the middle of a war zone, the air thick with the iron scent of drawn weapons and the shouts of warriors charging like a tidal wave. You swing your club, deflecting blows, your pelt turning spear tips as you dodge and weave, the ground turning slick with spilled wine and blood. It's chaos. Think Black Friday, but everyone's armed and nobody's here for discounts. You fight to Hippolyta, hoping to clear the misunderstanding, but a stray arrow, maybe Hera's doing, strikes her, and she falls, her girdle glinting in the dust. You snatch it, heart heavy, knowing this wasn't the plan. You battle your way to the ship, Amazons in pursuit, their war cries echoing like the Stymphalian Birds' screeches, but fiercer, human. Arrows whistle past, one grazing your cheek, leaving a hot sting and a trickle of warmth down your jaw. You leap aboard, sailors cutting ropes as you sail, the girdle clutched tight, its weight light, but its cost heavy. Back in Tyrans, Eurystheus accepts the prize, no jar diving this time, though he side-eyes your tale of diplomacy gone wrong. This labor blends charm with combat, proving you're more than a blunt instrument. Mainstream historical fact, the Hippolyta myth, recorded in Apollodorus's library, reflects Greek fascination with Amazons, possibly inspired by Scythian warrior women, whose graves, filled with weapons, archaeologists still uncover. Historians still argue whether this labor symbolizes cultural clashes with barbarian tribes or a mythic take on gender roles, exotic adventure or social commentary. Quirky tidbit. Some fringe stories claim Hippolyta's girdle held magical charms, making its wearer irresistible in battle or love, and that you wore it briefly, sparking rumors of your own charm offensive gone awry. You don't keep it, though. Too much baggage, literally and figuratively. As you stand on the shore, the girdle handed off, the sea's salt mingles with the dust on your skin, a gritty reminder of battles won and lost. Joke 1? Fighting Amazons for a belt? It's like raiding a fashion show where the models throw punches instead of poses. High stakes, zero runway. Hera's meddling stings worse than that arrow graze. Her laughter a faint hum in the wind. But you've outlasted her again. The stars emerge, bright against a velvet sky, the air cooling to a gentle caress that soothes your bruises. If you're drifting, let the river's distant flow carry you, a soft murmur of peace after the storm. But stay a moment. The next labor pulls you to the world's edge, where a three-bodied giant guards his herd. Joke 2. From warrior queens to cattle rustling, Eurystheus is turning your epic into a cosmic odd-job list. Hero today, cowboy tomorrow. The path ahead smells of adventure, sharp and wild, urging you onward. Joke 3. That girdle as a trophy? It's the ultimate accessory. Too bad it comes with a side of angry Amazons and divine grudges. You sail away from the Amazon's shores. The weight of Hippolyta's girdle gone, but its memory heavy. Like a bruise you can't quite see, as the sea's briny sting clings to your skin, mixing with the faint herb scent of Themyscira fading behind you. Your lion pelt sways with the ship's roll, creaking timbers and snapping sails a familiar lullaby as you head toward Erythea, an island at the world's edge, where the sun dips into the ocean like a molten coin. Eurystheus, never one for easy tasks, now demands you steal the cattle of Geryon, a three-bodied giant whose herd is guarded by a two-headed dog and a herdsman fiercer than the Thracian warriors you just outran. The air grows warmer, thick with salt and the promise of strangeness as you near this mythic frontier, waves lapping your ship with a rhythm that feels like the gods holding their breath. You reach Erythea at dusk, the island glowing red under a sunset that paints the cliffs like spilled wine. The scent of warm grass and distant livestock drifting on the breeze. Geryon's no ordinary foe. 3 torsos, 3 heads, 6 arms, all wielding weapons. His form a nightmare stitched together by divine whim. His cattle, red as the horizon, graze in fields lush enough to make you forget the journey's perils, their lowing soft but ominous, like a storm rumbling far off. First, you face Orthrus, the two-headed dog, its snarls doubling up like a bad duet, fangs glinting as it charges. You swing your club, the impact cracking like thunder, sending it sprawling, its whimpers fading into the grass. The herdsman Eurytion comes next, axe raised, but a hydra-tipped arrow drops him before he can blink. Modern aside, it's like raiding a farm guarded by a mutant pit bull and a bouncer who skipped leg day. High stakes, weird vibes. Now Geryon looms, his tripled form casting a shadow that chills the warm air, his eyes locking on you with synchronized fury. You dodge his flurry of blades, the clash of metal ringing in your ears, sparks flying like fireflies on a rampage. Your lion pelt turns a spear thrust, but a sword grazes your thigh, a hot sting that leaves blood trickling down your leg. You counter with your bow, arrows finding gaps in his armor, each hit slowing his chaotic dance of limbs. Finally, you close in, grappling one torso, then another, your strength pinning him until he collapses, a heap of defeated divinity. The cattle, unperturbed, keep grazing, their hides glinting like rubies as you herd them toward your ship, hooves thumping a steady beat on the earth. Joke 1. Fighting a 3-bodied giant? It's like wrestling a bar fight where the guy keeps calling in backup clones, except they're all him, and they're all mad. Driving the herd across the sea is no picnic. Cows aren't built for boats, and their mooing drowns out the waves, a chorus of bovine complaints that grates on your nerves. You land in Iberia, then trek overland, battling bandits and beasts who eye the Erymanthian herd like it's a walking buffet. The journey's a blur of dust and sweat, your throat parched, the cattle's musky scent clinging to you like a second skin. You deliver them to Tyrans, where Eurystheus, jar-free for once, sacrifices them to Hera. Ironic, since she's the one rooting for your failure. This labor proves you can conquer the impossible, even at the world's edge. Mainstream historical fact. Geryon's myth, detailed in Hesiod's Theogony, ties to Greek exploration of the Western Mediterranean, possibly reflecting trade routes or encounters with Iberian tribes. Historians still argue whether the cattle raid symbolizes colonial ambitions or a mythic spin on pastoral wealth, adventure or allegory. Quirky tidbit. Some obscure tales claim Geryon's cattle had milk that glowed faintly, used by Erythian priests to light sacred caves, a trick lost when you drove the herd away. Your heist dimmed their rituals, literally. As you stand in Tiryns, the herd gone, the air carries a faint sweetness of victory, dust settling on your pelt like a gritty metal. Your thigh throbs, but it's healing, a scar to join the Hydra burns and Amazon grazes. Joke 2. Herding glowing cows across continents? It's like escorting a herd of living lava lamps. Pretty, but a logistical nightmare. The night sky unfurls, stars sharp as arrowheads, the air cooling to a gentle caress that eases your aches. Hera's spite lingers, a prickle at your neck, but you've outwitted her again, for now. If you're drifting off, let the cattle's distant lowing be your lullaby, a soft rumble of triumph over chaos. But hold on. One last task awaits, a garden of gold guarded by a dragon. Joke 3. Eurystheus sending you after apples next? It's like swapping epic heists for grocery shopping, except the store's run by a fire-breathing reptile with a grudge. You stand in Tiryns, the dust of Geryon's cattle still settling on your lion pelt, its weight now a second skin, scarred and salty from battles stretching from Crete to the world's edge. The air shifts, carrying a faint sweetness of ripe fruit and distant lands, as Eurystheus delivers his final labor. Fetch the golden apples from the Hesperides garden, a hidden grove guarded by a dragon and tended by nymphs at the far western reaches. You set sail again, the sea's familiar rock soothing your bruised body, waves lapping the hull with a rhythm like a heartbeat slowing for rest. Your ship cuts through waters that shimmer under a twilight sky, the scent of salt and adventure mingling, urging you toward the unknown. This isn't just a fruit-picking errand. These apples, gifts from Gaia to Hera, glow with divine power, and Hera's not sharing. Remember the Amazon's girdle? This feels like her final jab, a task blending cunning, charm, and raw nerve. You reach the garden's edge, where the world feels softer, almost dreamlike. Golden light filters through ancient trees, their branches heavy with apples that gleam like tiny suns, casting warmth on your face. The air smells of honey and blossoms, a heady perfume that makes your head swim. But the dragon Ladon coils nearby, its 100 heads hissing in unison, scales glinting like polished emeralds. Each head tracks you, eyes like cold stars, breath hot with sulfur that stings your throat. The Hesperides, nymphs of evening, watch from the shadows, their laughter soft as falling leaves but edged with warning. You could fight, but Ladon's no ordinary beast, and those apples are more trap than treasure. Modern aside, it's like sneaking into a high-security orchard where the guard dog's a Hydra's angrier cousin and the fruit's wired to a divine alarm system. Instead of charging in, you seek Atlas, the titan doomed to hold the sky, his mountain nearby casting a shadow that chills your skin despite the garden's warmth. His voice rumbles like distant thunder as he agrees to fetch the apples, if you take his burden for a bit. You brace yourself, shoulders squaring under the cosmic weight, the sky pressing down like an endless ocean, your muscles screaming, bones creaking like old wood. The strain's unreal, stars blurring above as sweat pours, salty on your lips, your breath ragged. Atlas returns with the apples, their golden glow lighting his weathered face, but he hesitates, offering to deliver them himself. You smell a trick. Freedom tempts him. With a sly grin, you ask him to hold the sky briefly while you adjust your pelt, then bolt with the apples, leaving him groaning under his eternal load. Joke 1. Outsmarting a titan? It's like pulling a fast one on your boss during a coffee run. Sorry, Atlas. You're stuck with the shift. You sail back, the apples tucked safe, their radiance warming your hands like tiny hearths. The seas spray a cool contrast. Eurystheus, jar-free for once, takes the apples but returns them to Athena, who restores them to the garden, Hera's prize, untarnished. This labor seals your legend, blending brains and brawn to outwit gods and monsters. Mainstream historical fact: the Hesperides apples appear in Apollodorus's library, symbolizing divine favor, possibly inspired by real sacred orchards in ancient cults. Historians still argue whether this reflects Greek myths of immortality or trade for rare fruits from distant lands, quest for eternity, or exotic grocery run. Quirky tidbit: some fringe tales say the apple's seeds, if planted, grew trees that whispered prophecies, though none survived to test the claim. Your heist left no leftovers. Back in Tyrans, the air softens, carrying the scent of olive groves and fading sunlight, your body weary but whole. Scars from Hydra burns to Amazon grazes now joined by the ache of holding the sky. Joke 2. Stealing apples from a dragon? It's like raiding a farmer's market with a flamethrower for a cashier. Pricey, but you've got the receipt. Hera's wrath hums faintly, a breeze that doesn't quite touch you. Her plans thwarted one last time. The labors are done. Your atonement carved in trials that echo across myths, a demigod's resume no mortal could match. As night falls, the stars twinkle softer, like candles lit for rest, the world quieting around you. Your pelt feels lighter, its scars a map of victories. The ground beneath you, steady, inviting peace. If your thoughts drift, let them float on the garden's honeyed breeze. The apples glow, a fading light in your mind's eye. The trials fade, their weight lifting, leaving only the rhythm of your breath, slow and deep, matching the sea's distant murmur. Each labor, lion, hydra, hind, boar, stables, birds, bull, mares, girdle, cattle, apples, wove a thread in your legend, now complete, a tapestry to wrap you in dreams. The air cools, stars dim, and the world hushes, a gentle cradle for your weary soul. Let Hera's schemes dissolve, her whispers lost in the night's embrace, as you sink into a quiet beyond the gods' reach. Victory, your lullaby. Sleep now, hero, the cosmos at rest. End of script. Sweet dreams.